Hey job board owners, today I want to show you a way of importing high quality job listings into your job board once per day. As you can see here, I have an example of a job board. It's hosted on the Jobboardly platform. However, this method is agnostic to whatever job board you're using, as long as your job board allows you to import jobs in a structured way. For example, with an XML file or a JSON or even a CSV file. Yeah, let's jump in. So we're here on this platform called Apify, and Apify is a way to automate web scraping. And Apify hosts all kind of actors, which are agents that retrieve data from web pages all across the globe. Um, this particular actor is my own actor, which I've built for you today. And this actor is perfect for job boards because it will only retrieve high quality job listings directly from company career sites. So there will be no job listings from Indeed or LinkedIn or any other job board. Your end users will always go to the company that has posted the job listing. Um, it is not free. It costs $12 per thousand jobs. However, Apify has a free plan which allows you to spend $5 per month for free. So using this actor, you can retrieve about 300 to 400 jobs every month entirely for free, which is a great way to get started. So yeah, let's jump in. So to get started, you can click on the try for free button, which will take you to an account creation page, which is something I've already done. But once you've set up your account, you will land on this input page right here, which allows you to filter down to the specific types of jobs that you want for your job board. So for my job board, I would like to retrieve new jobs every single day. So I'm going to set the time range to 24 hours. Now, you could leave it on 7 days and run this task every 7 days, or you can even set it to once per hour if your job board platform supports this. But Jobboardly is specifically designed to retrieve jobs from an XML file every 24 hours, so I'm just going to use that. I will set the maximum number of jobs per API call on 100 jobs. You can set this anywhere between 10 and 100. And then, because I'm looking for data scientist roles, I'm going to focus mostly on the title search functionality. So I want to get data scientist, also data science, and let's do data engineer as well. Should we exclude something? Let's exclude data analyst. So now we'll retrieve jobs that contain either data scientist, data science, or data engineer, and then remove all the jobs that also contain analysts. Uh, I'm not going to set a location. I want jobs from everywhere across the globe. However, for example, if you want jobs only from the United States, then you can use the location search to set it to the United States. I don't want any description filters. I don't want to filter down on specific organizations, but this is something you can do as well. And I want to make sure that description type is set to HTML. So this allows Jobboardly to display every single job with the original formatting of the company career sites where the jobs come from. However, if your job board software doesn't support that, you can also set it to the clean text version. So we're not going to filter down on any of the ATS platforms. If for some reason you would like to retrieve jobs only from Workday, you could set it to Workday. But today, for this example, we want to just get as many jobs as possible. So we don't want to filter on remote jobs only. So I'm just going to leave that disabled. And we do want to make sure to include the AI analysis. And I'm going to elaborate on that a little bit later. So right now we don't necessarily need the LinkedIn company data, which can be useful. What this does is if you enable this, every single job will have additional company data attached to it, like the number of employees or the industry. For this example, we don't really need it, so I'm just going to leave it out. And I think we are good to go. So I'm going to run this actor and see how many jobs we will get. This can take up to a minute, but this one in particular should only be a couple seconds. So let's see. There we go. Great. So it is a Sunday. There's not many jobs, but we do have 16 results right here. And you can see the title. We have Azure Senior Data Engineer. from PwC. We have some data engineering, some data scientist roles, 16 in total, which is fantastic. Now, what we want is we want to run this job every single day. So to do this, we have to go to Save Tasks on the left-hand side. We don't have any Save Task yet. So next step is to go to Actors and then select the actor that we have just used. You can see all of our input fields right here. And then on the top right, we want to create a task. I am going to call this Data Science Roles 24 hours. And we, of course, want to copy the input from the Input tab. Fantastic. So we now have our task, and now we want to schedule this task. In the top right, we can click on Schedule. And we want to run this daily. And let's run it every day at 1 p.m. Perfect. And now let's run it once. We can go to our Save Tasks. And we can see we have one run. So the next step, we have our jobs. How are we going to import these jobs to Jobboardly? So included with this actor, we have a couple of instructions. And specifically, we have an instructions, how can I retrieve these jobs in an XML format? Now, we've created our save task, we've created our schedule. What we now need is this unique URL that we can share with Jobboardly, which allows Jobboardly to retrieve these jobs from Apify. So what we can do is we can copy the URL and we can just park it right here. And what we need is we need the ID of the task that we've just created. And we also need the API key of our account. So to get the task, it's going to open this in a new tab. Go to the task and then copy this little string of text from your browser bar and paste it right here. And then we want our API key, which can be found at Settings. And then API and Integrations. And then we can copy our API key right here. Paste that. So copy this whole URL and let's see if it works. So you can just copy paste it into your browser, give it a try. And we can see here that all the jobs that we've just retrieved are now in this structured XML format. We have our description. We have our AI fields. Great. Let's move on to Jobboardly. Great, so we are now in our Jobboardly page. And to get started with importing our jobs, we'll have to go to Jobs. And then the XML importer. So I'm going to start an XML import. And then I'm going to copy the URL that we've just created, which will load the XML feed. This should only take a couple of seconds. Okay, great. So I'm not going to limit the number of jobs because we already know that we're retrieving a maximum of 100 jobs per day. So I'm just going to leave this blank. We want to retrieve these jobs once per day, and I'm going to publish them directly because I'm very confident in that all these jobs will be relevant for my users. However, you can also set these jobs to draft instead, and then you can have another look at them before you publish them. Then let's map our fields. So we have our job title, and we can map this to title. We have our job type, and we're actually going to map this to one of the AI fields, which is called AI employment type. So what the AI fields do is every single job has its description analyzed by an AI large language model. This is very helpful to retrieve things like salary, the number of years of experience, but also the employment type. Because not every career site specifies if this job is full-time or part-time or a contract role. Unfortunately, in a perfect world, that would be the case, but this is not a perfect world. So let's make sure that we're mapping all the values correctly. For this Apify actor, all the values are in all caps. So we have full-time, part-time, we have contractor, and we have intern. However, in my job board, it's not in all caps. It's just written in a easier to read format. So we have full-time, part-time, contract, or internship. Default value will be full-time because this is the most common value. Then we have our description, which we'll set to our HTML description. There we go, description HTML. Company name is organization. Company URL, I'm going to set this to domain derived, which is always the homepage of the company that has posted the job. Application link is simply the URL. And then the publish date is the date posted. So the difference between date posted and date created is date posted is when the job was posted by the company. Date created was when the job was discovered and indexed. So we're going to set it to date posted. So let's move on to the location. So first we have our location type, and for which we once again have a AI field, work arrangement, and we want to make sure that they are all mapped correctly. So our Appify actor has 4 options. It has on-site, it has hybrid, it has remote OK, which are jobs that are either fully remote or in an office. And we have remote solely. So remote solely are companies that are fully remote and they don't have an office available. However, in our job board, we only have the regular remote option. So we're going to map it as such. And then the default option is going to be on-site because this is by far the most common job type. Now for location, we want to set this not to locations raw, but to locations derived. And the reason for that is that location derived ensures that every location is in a structured city, state, country format, whereas the locations raw is whatever the original job posting described. So, for example, a job posting can have New York or NYC or New York, New York, and we want to have this in a structured way, which is why we're going for locations derived. We are also going to select our countries, our regions, which is regions derived, and then cities derived, perfect. And then for salary, we once again have an AI field. So we are looking for the salary currency. We are looking for, let's set the default to USD, the salary min value, salary max value, and the salary schedule, which is unit text. And the default, we're going to set that to yearly. Great. Let's import the jobs. So this will take probably around a minute for 50 jobs. It can be a bit longer if you have hundreds of jobs. So see you in a minute. Great, we're back and you can see that all 16 jobs have been imported. So let's have a look at our job board. Great, and now you can see our jobs have been imported successfully. Great, well, obviously I will leave all the links in the comments. Let me know if you have any questions, just drop a comment below and happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.